Good evening, everybody. I hopped on like a minute early. I hope that's okay. It's 7:59. It's been a long day. How is everybody doing? Welcome to your workshop tonight. I taught this one very recently. So welcome back if you're joining us again. My name is Alecia, and I will be your workshop host tonight. These are all the workshops that I've created since starting my modeling career back in 2016. So, a lot of you guys know me because I've been doing these workshops since 2020. So, if you are new here, go ahead and find the Q&A section of the Zoom call and introduce yourself. Or if you've been here before, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And let me know what you are attending for. What do you hope to gain out of this session tonight? This is a workshop, so we will be doing activities together. We'll be having discussions. I will be showing you plenty of examples from my portfolio, and I will be showing you guys examples of other models' portfolio and giving you guys all the good information that you need to get your portfolio started. Also in the Q&A, let me know if you have a portfolio, somewhat of a portfolio. I know a lot of us have probably done headshots before. But if you're looking to get into the modeling industry, funny thing, I brought this out because I'm moving, so all of my stuff is everywhere, but this takes up like the entire screen. This is an old school portfolio when I first started in 2016, and you could always tell who was a model heading to a casting on the streets of New York because we had to lug around these giant portfolios and watch the casting directors in real time analyze our book. So these are some of my very first portfolio pictures. And since 2020, a lot of stuff has gone through the internet. People kind of realized that you can do the same thing on the internet. So a lot of these jobs that we get in today, everything is submitted online. I can't remember the last time I've been to a casting, which is why I created this workshop because it's really important that we understand fundamentals of posing and how to build a strong portfolio that's going to market us in the right direction. This photo of me right here is insane. I got set up with a photographer in New York. A lot of photographers work with makeup artists and stylists, so it's like a whole team on set to make you look like your highest self. And each experience that I've had building my portfolio has taught me so much. I've gotten the greatest joy of creating with other people. And I honestly think that that is the fun part about navigating a career in modeling or acting. It's the most fun part to be able to create. When sometimes we get hired for jobs, we have to stay in creative lines of what they want, what they're hiring us for. But when you're shooting for your portfolio, it's a whole different vibe. And this is where you really get good at modeling. And this is where you really get good at the skill of connecting with the camera, connecting with the photographer, with the team, and learning yourself through tons of photos and tons of sessions. I've learned my angles. And the best part is that you have images that you can then market yourself with. So that is a little bit of intro about tonight's session that we're going to be talking about. And I just want to welcome you all. Trying to get the most out of everything. Tuning in from Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a great market to be in. Shopping around for test shoots. Keep hearing no makeup at all. Yeah, right. In this industry, we like to call it the no makeup look. Um, So yeah, that's kind of weird. I'm gonna give you guys my email at the end if you have any questions, but it is about 5 after, so I suggest we get started. Um, this is the very first slide. I figured we just might as well cut right to the chase. I want you guys to really understand that if you want to be a model or an actor, your physicality, your persona, and your camera presence are a vital piece of your success. So, how do we capture this? If we're no longer attending castings, it's all done on film, it's done on submissions. But for the sake of this workshop, we're going to be talking about the camera piece where everything is captured and put into a still image. And then these images create your portfolio. And without a portfolio, it's pretty hard to market yourself. So, if you guys are submitting online for the castings with selfies or pictures that you've taken at home, digital self-tapes, that is great. But if you have at least one professional shoot a year where you can update your portfolio, I definitely recommend having that be part of your goal to consistently build your portfolio, especially because you can do it, especially with a team and photographers' skill sets and understanding of light and all of that, styling, makeup. You can market yourself in the direction that you want your career to go. So instead of maybe doing local extra work, which is great, people make a living off of that. What if you wanted to work in commercials or book a catalog brand and you wanted to model their activewear? You might have to have a picture in your portfolio with a strong athleisure component. Images where people can really see how you connect with the camera, how photographers capture you. And this is going to give clients a sneak peek into what you can do for their brand. They're going to be looking at these pictures to say, do we want her or him to be in our next project? They would look great with this brand. If you think about a company like Kohl's, if you want to work for Kohl's, that's commercial modeling, that's department store modeling, and they have hundreds of brands that they sell. And they have a huge photo studio in Milwaukee. But yeah, they're going to be looking at your photos to see just like this, because I've seen them all do it in real time, looking at your photos and say, what brand is this model going to be best for? And it also allows, if you're not submitting with these images, you can display them proudly on your social media. Your agency can display them, and that gets you seen and gets you noticed as well for any other company who might be looking for a model in your area. When you have a portfolio too, it's also proof that you are committed and it's proof that you're skilled. There's no other way to put it. Picture is worth 1,000 words. And what I really love about it, as I look over my images from start to finish, really tells the story of who you are and your own personal essence of what you can deliver on set. So yeah, a portfolio is not going to be pictures from your self-tapes. It's not going to be pictures from your digitals or any auditions that you sent in, side profile, front facing, 3/4. It's not going to be anything like that. They are professional images and they are an investment on the model's behalf. You have to pay the photographer to get these images created and put in your book. So what's the beauty of that is that they're going to be professionally shot and edited. You're going to have different styles that can show your range. You can do different settings. It doesn't have to be in a studio. You can go out to the beach. You can go out to anywhere on the street. And these photos are really there to serve and give a good impression to the client. So, what is a test shoot? I said earlier, the slide previous said that a portfolio was a collection of test shoots. And I'll tell you, when I first got my contract in New York very long ago, I was very new. I had no idea what I was doing. Somebody saw potential in me. I knocked on the right door, and they said, okay, the very first thing that we are going to set you up with is a test shoot. We'll have the details for you soon. I said, okay, it was a wild ride. And then I was like, what the heck is a test shoot? Are they going to quiz me on something? Am I being tested? Is this like a make or break type of thing? But it is a term that we use in the industry. Photographers know it very well. So if you wanted to go next steps to to building your portfolio, you would say, hey, I'm looking to start building my portfolio. I would like to check your test shoot rates because I'd like to work with you and get some images. So why I think they call it a test shoot, which I can only infer. No one's actually explained it to me this way, but I think it's your opportunity to test potential photographers, stylists, makeup artists, and create fresh professional images for your portfolio. It's also a test of the response to the images. So this image was shot. I needed a new headshot, and we wanted it to be like a more sophisticated look, clean beauty that could appeal to maybe women's brands like Anthropologie, Ann Taylor, J. Crew. And so you always go into a test shoot with a goal in mind. And once you get your images back, you're going to test the response to the images. Is it creating a buzz? Are clients wanting to check your availability? It's also an option for you to test different looks, styles, and moods. So I'll never forget. I think it's in this workshop at some point. I did like a dark, edgy, wet hair, big, bold jewelry look. And the truth is, that's not really my style. But it doesn't always have to be your style. Sometimes you're just trying to show your range of what you're capable of. And again, it's so fun to play and test out different looks. Um, Testing to see what response and revenue it can generate, and ultimately, it's a test of your modeling skills. And I mentioned briefly when I said that it is your investment, there is a misconception in this industry where whenever I tell people like I'm preparing to do a big investment, I need another test shoot, I need updated images for my portfolio. People always say, oh, well, your agency pays for that, right? And I'm like, no, it's as in any other business. If you want results, there are some investments that you're going to have to make. And it is a great opportunity, again, to put yourself into the set and get your images and work with photographers and build your portfolio. And I always say that when you make that investment, it will return to you within your first couple jobs. It's so worth it to have good, professional, high resolution, edited images that are looked at with a professional eye. So if you don't have a portfolio yet, that's completely okay. This is the type of image that I started with. It's very, very basic, clean beauty. Jean is a style that will be timeless, so you can shoot in like a white tank top and a jean jacket. These are the basic clean photos that you're going to need. And a lot of these images that I'm showing you throughout the course of this workshop are not currently in my book anymore because they've been phased out because too many years have gone by and I don't really look like that anymore. So again, that's why we want to consistently be updating our portfolio once a year to start. I'm aiming for 2 to 3 times a year. But some models have so much success because all they do is test shoots, test shoots, test shoots, and they put out images constantly, and it really creates a buzz. And next thing you know, a big client is knocking at their door and their career has shifted into the limelight. And now, their career is gained so much momentum because they put that investment forward. So, here's a little example of some investments that I've made. And when I talk about investment, obviously monetarily investments are great, but it's also an investment of our time, of our bandwidth, if you will. It's been very challenging back in 2018 to plant my butt on a beach in a swimsuit where people are around and I'm a little new to modeling, don't necessarily have it down pat yet, I guess. But I did it. I put myself out there. I invested in myself. I mustered up my bravery. And these are important images for me to have because I'm currently based out of South Florida. There are a lot of clients who come down here to shoot their swimwear, their summer stuff, and they'll be looking for the local Miami models. And so it's really important that my book has proof that I can and will model swimwear. Here's another example. I told you guys that that jean is just such a timeless look if you're kind of stumped on what you would wear. We'll talk about styling and we're going to also talk about posing as well. This was from one of my very first test shoots back in 2016. And then this is from one of my latest test shoots back in October or November. So as you can see, you just got to keep cracking at it. And some styles are worth being repeated because that jean is just so classic. We went from a studio setting to a beach setting. And then we have this one, which is one of my most favorites, like high glam, high drama. I really wanted to appeal to the New York market. I don't work in New York as often as I would like. But I used a team of a stylist, a photographer, and a makeup artist, and we had the best day ever. And I think about maybe shooting with them again and again. But it's good to switch up your photographers. It's good to switch up your stylists and your makeup artists, just because you get to know more people in the industry too. So tips for your very first test shoot, I always like to say, is connection. Connection, connection, connection. Yes, we're there to exchange a service, get what we paid for. It's a business transaction, but it's also a networking opportunity. And the whole thing is going to feel a little crunchy at first because you don't know these people and you're going to get in front of them and bare your soul to the camera. And so, what I have found really breaks the ice and helps me feel way more comfortable is just acting like I'm, trying to make friends, really. How long have you been doing this? Are you married? Where are you from? What languages do you speak? I love your hair. I love your nails. Do you have a boyfriend? Little simple conversation pieces and be prepared to open up about yourself and tell your story. This industry really is smaller than you think, and a lot of it is based on how you work with people. So you really want to open that door for connection and hopefully leave by the end of the day saying, wow, I've made like 3 new friends in this industry. Getting comfortable with imperfection is also very important. I used to think that modeling involved just kind of like standing there and people telling me what to do, and I didn't have a full understanding of posing and all of that. And I would see these beautiful images of models, and I would say, oh, well, they're just beautiful. They're just beautiful, and that's why they take beautiful pictures. But the best models are constantly moving and giving different variations and shapes and poses and playing and with the camera. So that being said, in a 3-hour window of time, you might take 1,200 images. And what I want you guys to understand, because it was very shocking to me at first, is that most of those images are going to be trash. They're going to be garbage. You're going to be blinking. You're going to be looking weird. And that is the art of photography. Obviously, you will get better and produce better images as you get more skilled. But even the supermodels know you're going to have so many images that just get thrown out. And it's about the eye. It's about the photographer's eyes catching the actual good shot. So if you have 100 shots taken in an outfit, you might only get one or two, which means that you might see some imperfect images of yourself. And that doesn't need to take away the magic of the day. So you can either look at the images, the photographer will show you, oh, this is what we've got so far, and give you a little brief overview. And I always used to see like bad pictures of myself, and I would say, oh no, I'm not doing a good job. And I would get stiff and tense. But it's part of the process is weeding out those images that are not gonna make the cut to find the ones that will. Have a vision in mind to refer to. This is called a mood board. We're going to discuss that in depth as well. And be open to learning. Be open to telling people I'm new. Teach me what works, what doesn't. Go on YouTube. Study other models' portfolios. We're going to do a lot of that tonight too. Getting rid of what if statements was a huge game changer for me in my mindset in general about pursuing a career in modeling and also in my personal life too. So if you ever catch yourself saying, oh, well, what if I invest all this money and the pictures come out garbage? What if I don't have the money to do it? Or what if I just am not up for it? I'm not confident enough. What if I'm just not ready? Um, what if the outfits I pick out suck? I don't know if you guys tend to catch yourself thinking like that, but somebody broke it down to me before, and they said every time that you catch yourself in a what if statement, you're now worrying about something that has not even happened yet, and you're stressing yourself about it in the present moment. So the best thing we can do is get rid of those what if statements, come back to the present moment and do exactly what you have control over in the moment. So instead of worrying about if your outfit's going to suck, go online and spend a little bit of time looking at outfit inspirations, and it will come to you so much easier if you just take control of that present moment and do exactly what you can to give yourself that confidence. Bring all the confidence. Bring it all. Don't leave a smidge at home. And that will lead us into our activity, which is all about confidence. So go ahead and find that Q&A section of our Zoomed call tonight and let me know, how do you define confidence? I mean, we know we need it, kind of know what it looks like in others, but what does it mean specifically to you? How do you define it in your everyday life? And some other thoughts to consider to check in with yourself. You don't have to share with the group, but if you'd like to gauge where you're at on your confidence scale, ask yourself, what would you rate yourself on a 1 to 10? And what are ways that you can get to a 10? And write it down and make that your goal and go after it and get it done. So I'm really excited to hear what kind of answers you guys have. Probably be able to read a few out loud to the group. So please know that what you share, I may read aloud. Charisma. I love that word. Charisma. I'm like such a definition type of person, that I'm tempted to like look up exactly what charisma means, but I feel like charisma is like that spark that people have, and it just draws people towards you. Have you ever had a test shoot and tried to be polite and fun and the energy just wasn't there? They were standoffish. Yeah, I just did a new client in North Carolina last week, and that was kind of the vibe I was getting from the makeup artist at first. And I just kept going. I just kept pushing until I got her to open up. And it turns out that the soft spot was dogs. Wanted to tell me all about her dogs. You just never know when people are like that, how their morning was. Maybe they're tired, maybe they haven't eaten breakfast yet. So the best you could do is prep yourself to not be standoffish and just keep poking until you can open them up. So by the end of the day, yeah, we were good. But at first I was like, is this day gonna be weird? are these people going to be mean to me? Being comfortable in your own skin, the ability to define yourself despite your surroundings, always be yourself, believing in yourself, what you can accomplish, knowing you're enough. These are beautiful answers. Aware of self, offer snacks. You're funny. Knowing and trusting your abilities, putting God first and trusting in Him. Amen. Yeah. I think a lot of what everyone is describing is this idea of authenticity, which is being yourself, knowing your worth. I'm gonna tell you guys, I used to think confidence was like all, you know, something that was waiting later for me in life, where I'd be like, oh, well, I know that I'll be confident once I X, Y, and Z, once I have this much in the bank, once I have this job, or once I've gotten this, then of course, then how could I not be confident? But then I would get these things and I wouldn't be confident. So I kind of had to do a little deep dive on what confidence meant to me. And I'm so honored to be able to share with you guys how my mind works a little bit about it. I've realized it's nothing physical, which is great that none of you guys kind of referred to our physical traits. What I've learned about confidence is that the times that I built the most confidence is when I did scary, unknown things and I came out on the other side and I was like, whew, had to wipe my brow, but I was like, dang, I got through that. I faced my fear. I put myself in a brand new situation and I held up. And I just kept doing things like that again and again and again. And most of my confidence was built by chasing this career in modeling. I mean, I used to take the train to the city, get in front of casting directors for 5 minutes, and then leave because I'm originally from Connecticut. Some of you guys know my story, but it was also built because I invested in myself. I ended up spending a lot of money on train tickets and random castings at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday in Manhattan, being on the train for 3 hours round trip, putting on a good outfit and braving the city by myself. Um, Building trust in yourself as well, for me, has built my confidence. Like, I used to always say, like, oh, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then the time would come and I would put it off. And I just think about how if I was in a relationship with somebody who kept doing that to me, I wouldn't trust them. So I kind of rewired it. And I said, well, now I'm in a relationship with myself. And I've got to prove to myself that I can trust myself and that I can give myself what I say I'm going to do. So it was really kind of decisions after decisions after decisions. And I know that some people, like if you do somebody's true Hollywood story and they recap the beginning years of their childhood and they'll say, "Oh, they were born to be a star. They were just so confident." My story wasn't like that. I wasn't born with confidence. I was very shy. So as I got older and got this opportunity to start modeling, it was all those elements and not being afraid to be a beginner, actually realizing that when you are a beginner, that is the most powerful place to be because you're absorbing all the information, you're showing yourself what's out there, you're opening a brand new chapter, you're learning, you're asking questions. And all of these elements, again, in repetition, will build you up to be a 10, where people see you, they meet you, and they say, that is a confident person. Aside from being, charismatic or authentic or kind or friendly, they can really sense your confidence. And so, another way that you can build your confidence is through practice, especially confidence in this industry. So these test shoots that we've been talking about are a really, really good way to get confidence and to practice your confidence because being confident in real life in your everyday actions, but then when you're in front of a camera is a whole other skill set that is like muscle memory once you get it down. So that is our deep dive on confidence. Send me some emojis, some flames if you guys are still with me. We're about halfway through the workshop. And now we're going to get a little technical and get into logistics. If anybody is saying, well, dang, I'm inspired now. I've got to plan my first test shoot. I got to find a photographer and I got to get the ball rolling here. So some prerequisites for your first test shoots are going to be A, visualization, planning, organization, and communication. So I told you guys I would tell you what a mood board is. That is for the step of visualization. This is where you want the direction of the shoot to go, shots that were inspiring, shots that match the vibe that you're going for. And fun fact, every single project that you will work on where photography is happening, there will be a mood board. So they have cut out pictures, they've printed pictures from other brands, from catalogs with other models posing, different expressions, different poses. And it's just a visualization so your brain can kind of compartmentalize what the goal of the shoot is here. What kind of shots are we trying to get? And what is the general gist of inspo here? And it's referenced by the entire creative team, not just the model. The stylist needs to look at it, the photographer needs to look at it. And this is so everyone can be on the same page. Now, I told you guys too, study other models' portfolios, use these ideas as inspiration for your own mood board and find images that are calling to you that you say, "Oh, I can do that with a jean jacket. Oh, I can wear a white tank top and get in front of the camera and serve a confident, passionate look. I got this." When you see other people do it, it's so much more empowering because you say, "Okay, it can be done." And I have all the tools right here. Plan and organize looks that fit the mood board. This is the most time-consuming part, in my humble opinion, which is why I like to utilize the service of a stylist. But ultimately, what a stylist does is get your size, go shopping, keep the receipts, keep the tags at the end of the shoot. The day of the shoot, they'll see what fits, what doesn't, what things they can put together, and then they go and return it all. So just know that you can be your own stylist. Just hang on to those receipts. I've bought boots before that I've only worn on a studio set, and then I returned them because I had no use for them in my everyday wardrobe, but they were really high and they were really cool, and the images that came from them were really good. So that is your planning and organizing phase. And communicate, get your agent's opinion about what your portfolio needs. They know the industry best, so they'll know what images are getting models booked, are getting models work. So have a conversation. What do you think my portfolio needs? What looks? Can you send me some inspiration? I'm putting together a mood board. And you can communicate with the photographer too, as well, if they have any experience. And it's really important to consider what work you want to book. There are some basic images that you should have, headshot, but if you are really calling towards like men's tuxedos and bridal and stuff like that, then maybe you need a little bit more fancier, elevated looks. But really, it's all about letting the creativity and your persona shine. So I don't want you guys to overthink the styling. It could be a pop of color, it could be neutrals, but it's really going to want to veer away from patterns, from stripes, nothing too loud. The jewelry, the statement pieces, the coloring on the lips. I love that green turtleneck shot. It's just so, 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 so beautiful. Here are some beauty shots that I have done in my book before. So these, as you can see, are closer up shots. This will appeal to a lot of clients because they get to see your skin texture, your features really up close. And if you think about it, that could be good for skincare, for makeup, for hair. So a beauty shot is absolutely essential. Then we have some power shots, as I like to call them, where it's just emanating power. And brands who have that as some of their values will definitely want to be looking for that powerful, bold, fierce model. And a good model can do all different looks. So these are some of what I feel are my most powerful shots. And the best thing about these photos right here, the one on the left was a paid test shoot, but the one on the right, I did a collaboration with a photographer, which is always an option. In this industry, we call it trade for print, TFP. So if you don't have a budget for a test shoot right now, some photographers charge up to $600, and that doesn't include a makeup artist and it doesn't include a stylist. So sometimes the most you can spend on new images are like $1,000, and it's really gone up as most things have. But if you find a photographer in your area, if you post on Facebook, if you start talking about how you want to start a career in modeling, and you start networking with people and say, "Do you know anybody who's a photographer?" Talk to them and say, hey, would you want to do a trade for print? Now, what that means is that they're going to get something out of it and you're going to get something out of it. So most of the time it's for fun, or the photographer is looking to maybe branch away into something creative. Let's say you find a wedding photographer and they're just itching to do something fun on a Saturday, go out in a field with a model. They might do that for free. And you just say, I'm looking to build my portfolio. If you have any creative concepts in mind that you're looking to do, I would love to arrange a trade for print. So that is an option too. This is like what I call unspoken poise. So the model's job is to look relaxed, even though you're not really, because this is just a moment in time where it looks like you're relaxed. But if you go on YouTube and you find videos of models working on set, they're in constant motion. There is muscle tension, there's different facial expressions. So at the end of a day of me modeling, sometimes my back hurts, okay? Um, these are some like action shots, just really cool guy, caught me off guard. And again, this happens with providing movement and being in your element too, bringing that confidence, that authenticity, that charismatic behavior that we talked about, knowing yourself, loving yourself. These are what I call lifestyle shots. A lot of brands shoot lifestyle shots. Think about like a Target ad where you see the family having a picnic or something like that. Or maybe you're working for a coffee brand and they want to capture friends at a round table having their espresso after dinner. So it's those off moments that we're trying to capture in the lifestyle shots. Um, Active wear, maybe they catch you playing tennis or wanting to go catch a wave or something. So, if you have any athletic skills, it is really important to note that too, because sometimes clients will want an experienced model who has yoga skills, surfing skills. So anyway, I love the middle shot because it's reading like she could book an Aerie campaign or American Eagle, and all she did was find a tennis court and put on a cute outfit and play around with a photographer. So it really is, like I said, it's the most fun part of my experience in this industry. I used to put a lot of pressure on myself, and then I realized it's kind of about taking the pressure off, which is why I love these shots so much. They're so unpolished. You can tell if I was a company wanting to look for a model, I would say this girl is so free in her element. She's comfortable, she's not stiff. And she's gonna like basically flow like a little fairy on set. So depending on what the brand needs, maybe they are a yoga company, maybe they are a home furnishings company. You just never know. There's so many people out there who have creative concepts and they need those images to market their brands. I love these shots. So it doesn't always have to be in a studio too. You could shoot in an empty corner of a house by an open window. So a lot of photographers that I've worked with usually have a studio in their home somewhere where they move the couch and they put the paper down, or they have a room that's dedicated just to shooting, and that's how they make their living. So, so many different ways to have fun on sets. Obviously, you can unleash and go crazy and give like the most joyful expression, caught in the moment, action, jumping up and down. Don't be afraid to kind of go off because the product in your photos is you. So you really want to ask yourself, how are you going to sell yourself? So that usually is through your expression and through your creativity. What you believe to be possible in your mind creatively, know that you can produce that. And if you are interested in a career in modeling, just know that people want to pay you for your ability to captivate and to inspire and to pull people in. So know that that is your job. Um, and also they might hire you too to just be relatable. So sometimes it's not even about delivering that power shot. Sometimes it's just about maybe enjoying a quiet moment, looking off. So there's different ranges, but ultimately, I'll never forget when somebody was looking at my photos and they're like, wow, you're emanating. And I was like, I have to look that word up. What does emanate mean is to express a quality or feeling through the way that you look and the way that you behave. So, perfect example to emanate on set and to have it be captured by a camera and then boom, you have the proof there of what you're capable of to flow out from a source, to send forth, to emit. So think about all the good things that you want to emit out into the camera. Envision literally like bright lights around you, and that is the light that you're going to share with the camera. And that is like a skill and a tool that I know a lot of actors use as well. There's like a quote out there that says like if you think ugly thoughts, you're gonna not look, or if you think lovely thoughts, they will flow out through you and you will always look like sunshine or something like that. So just a little slide on what that means and how it kind of changed my concept about posing on camera. It's really not always about the technical of the posing. It's kind of about what you're sending forth and what you're emitting. So if you are nervous, if you're closed off, that is kind of what is going to capture on the other side of that camera. So yeah, every moment you are being a full statement of your being, you're sending out vibrations, people. All right. Last 15 minutes of the workshop. Are we ready to learn about posing tips? Again, there's so much information and so much video that you can watch on YouTube, but a lot of it you're not going to really understand until you get out there. A lot of ways that have helped me be comfortable on camera is through my practice of yoga, through my practice of weightlifting, just kind of being close with my body and building a connection with my body. A lot of models practice in front of the mirror, they know their angles, but these test shoots, if you're able to look at the whole role, you'll be able to really study yourself as a model and say, okay, well, I don't really like when I look like that. And my lips look a little tense, so maybe I need to work on untensing, unclenching my jaw. So there's a lot that you can learn just by paying attention. But for technical things, we're going to talk about a lot of tips for posing. It's going to be rapid fire. Capture the off moment. So it's not always about being on and looking at the camera and delivering something. Sometimes it's just about taking a break, smiling. You can do something a little cute. You can wink at the camera. You can close your eyes. You can fix your clothing. You can play with your hair. They're just called off moments where it's not so much about holding a pose or serving a look. Not forgetting to crack a smile too. I've gone through so many test shoots where I was just like, and being all serious, which that is a look that sells a relaxed face, a powerful face, um, a passionate face, but so does joy. So we want to make sure that we're always remembering to crack a smile. And it shouldn't just be like, it should be an honest delivery. So if you have to make yourself laugh, um, or the fake laugh, if you can get really good at that, you'll feel corny, but it's really producing beautiful images here, as you can see. They're little off moments. Dropping your shoulders and relax. You'll never know how much tension you actually hold in your shoulders if you're uncomfortable. So always remember to kind of drop them, play with them a little bit, serve a little shoulder, let it down. And then fluid movements too. So I was told once that I posed like a robot, and it's true because I was just doing things that I have seen in videos and on other models' portfolios, and I would say, okay, next I'm going to put my hand on my hip, and then I'm going to take my hip off, my hand off my hip, and then I'm going to step forward. And so what I've learned is the best way to move to pose is to just have fluid movements, which means it's just a continuation where you're just constantly just playing, flirting with the camera, pretending like you see somebody really, really, really attractive and they're across the way. How are you going to kind of play with their eye contact? Because they're looking at you. And you're just going to be relaxed. When camera clicks, that is your cue to change something. Most photographers work with cameras where you can hear the click every time they click it. So it could be the smallest little thing. So if he's going click, 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 and you're still posing like this, that's not they're probably going to tell you, okay, do something else. Like, so they could be the tiniest little half-inch centimeter poses, but that's your cue to change something. So, some things you can change if you're stuck in the moment, you don't know what to change. Shift your weight, your hips. If everyone could just stand and have even weight on their hips, like this guy here, but then what happens if you take your weight off of one hip and shift it to the other? Take your weight off one hand and shift it to the other hip. Just kind of shift all around is the best way I can explain it. And then the triangle method too, where you can create triangles. So in this photo, he's created a triangle by putting his ankle over his knee. There's a triangle in there. He has a triangle with his arm over his knee, and he's got a triangle with his arm resting. So if you're not sure what to do, just think about triangles. Here we go. We have a triangle right here. Hand on hip, triangle. Both hands in pockets, you have two triangles. And while you're doing all of this, try not to have your mind be absent. You want to have that connection to the camera. That's what's going to make your modeling believable, is you are going to be hired to sell something. So how are you going to connect to that camera? Trying new things and taking risks. Now, this might be something maybe you're not ready for in the very beginning. Maybe you are. It depends what your photographer is down to capture or what the mood board, what we're ultimately going for. But quirkiness and bold facial expressions, off moments, like they're very powerful and they're very vulnerable. And that is a selling point where you can have a model whose portfolio looks perfectly polished, But you also have these off moments, these attitude moments. So that is me on the right. I can't believe I produced that shot. Very cool. But he basically just told me to say you and scream it. And uh it was very fun. So giving different expressions, different angles, you can just completely go off. So what we used was the AEIOU method when he told me to scream you when you're posing and let's say your lips are a little tense or they don't look pouty enough or just you're holding tension in your lower face. Try to think of AEIOU and you don't want to exaggerate it, but it's a way for you to move your lips. And the smize is if you were to all smile right now and think of your eyes and how they're lighting up, but drop the lower half of your face, but keep that intention in your eyes. That is a smize. It's like a slightly moodier expression than just staring at the camera off into space. You want to try to like tense up your eyes a little bit. There's muscles in there. If you know, you know. You'll get good at it. Here's examples of my smizes, some that I've been very proud of over the years. I love this shot. Fortunately, it's not in my book anymore because it's really old. And then the square method too. So let's say you're doing a beauty shot or a headshot or whatever, right? And the camera keeps clicking and you're not changing anything. Picture that your head is in a square and just tilt your chin in all different directions of that square, like you're trying to meet each corner or trace a square, and then kind of just play with all the different directions that you can put your face into. Soft hands is another big one. A lot of beginner models hold a lot of tension in their hands. So you could have a great shot, but you didn't pay attention to your hands and they're holding a ton of tension and they look distorted or they're not closed. So you've got hands like this on your hip instead of a natural moment. So everybody shake out your hands and let's say you're posing like this. It's all about the gentle placement that makes it look like your hands are relaxed. So if you're going to pose like this, you don't actually want to go like this and put all your weight in your hand. It's about the placement. And then we have our little square method and you can get all different angles and then you can switch it up and go to a different side. You could do something like this. You could do something like this, hands in pocket. There's all different possibilities. So, some inspiration I have for you for posing since it is an art and there's not one way to really do it. I think that, of course, these are my tips and how I utilize them and what I've learned over the years, but everybody does it differently, just kind of like a runway walk, right? You can learn the fundamentals, but you are going to put your own unique flair onto everything. And that's why people hire you because you look so unique and beautiful. But some inspiration for posing, if you aren't willing to look like a foolish beginner, you will never become a graceful master. So you don't exactly have to know what you're doing. You just have to be willing to be a beginner, to put yourself in a situation where the pressure's on and take it like a champ. Serve the look confidently. Some other posing tips are no neck monsters. So sometimes you'll have a really good picture, but your neck is completely covered. So every image that we have, and if you study other models' portfolios, you will see the neck is always visible. The neck is always elongated and creating an angle. Anytime you have no neck, the image usually gets thrown away. And when I say study other models' portfolios, depending on where you're from, I want you guys to, I mean, New York, LA, Miami, Chicago, those are like the major hubs for modeling, Atlanta as well. But the closest city to you, you can just do a Google search and say modeling agencies near me, go on their website and look and just browse. And a lot of the times they're going to link it to the model's Instagram. So if you guys want to go to their Instagram too, I do teach a workshop on social media and why it's so important. I think that's going to be offered in March. But yeah, this is the queen herself, Tyra Banks. She invented the terminology SMIES. And I just love this quote: the more dumb I feel while posing. Oh, okay. I messed that up. The more dumb they feel while posing, the cuter they look. So it's all in the name of fashion and booking work and marketing ourselves. And if we have to be a little quirky, that's fine, but no limp noodles, meaning we don't just want to slouch. I mean, for a couple poses, it could look cool to have that relaxed, but most of the time, there's a head to toe tension going on here, that muscle movement, the shifting of the weight. So we don't just want to just stand there like a noodle. And then no hoochie moves. So if you're going to do this shot, she's got her legs wide open, but she made it look fashion. So consider your wardrobe, consider how you're posing, and make sure that it is marketable in the direction that you'd like to go. The goal is to capture your uninhibited self. This is like a crazy image with the wind was blowing. I liked it at first. I don't really like it anymore because the hair is crazy, but this is an example of my uninhibited self, without restraint, unself-consciously. And how do we do that? We have to trust ourselves first and foremost, but also trust your team. There's direction that will be given during a shoot, so listen to the photographer. If he says chin down, that's a big one. As models, we tend to put our chin up, and I'm reminded a lot by them to put my chin down, or they'll say, hold it, hold it, hold it. That's a beautiful shot, or try this, try that. So your job is to kind of listen to the photographers, but also be in your own flow and serve what feels right to you, the movement that feels right to you, and know that your team, as much as you're trusting them, they're also trusting you that you're going to give movement, give expression, to emote. Um, and then tips for styling and makeup, guys, 3 to 4 looks maximum. You don't want to bring a whole suitcase filled with your wardrobe. So 3 to 4 looks maximum in a test shoot. Start with basics, bring basics. Um, and then for the makeup, you really want to start simple and then build. So if you have a look that requires more makeup, you're going to want to do that at the end. And yeah, I love my men in here for sitting through a lot of these images of females, but I did include some pictures of men for you guys. I feel like you guys have it easy because you don't need a ton of makeup and stuff like that. But there is basic grooming. Well, they'll comb your eyebrows, they'll put a ton of putty in your hair. Um, And it's just fun. It's fun to have people help you look and feel beautiful. Um, and obviously, the way that I look in real life is different than the way that I look in my portfolio pictures. They're massively elevated. There's a creative team working behind me. But these test images are our proof that we can really do this, and it allows us to see ourselves in the light of this industry that we want to tap into. So, what I will always remind you guys is that you are a work in progress, and have fun with knowing that every time you put yourself out there creatively, you're going to get something major out of it. So I told you guys I would give you my email, my Instagram. If you have any follow-up questions, please let me know. I will see you guys again on, what is the date today? Today is the 9th. I will see you on the 26th. We're going to be talking about self-tapes and digitals. Really, really important stuff. Self-tapes and digitals is going to be on the 26th. That's for your auditions online, how to set them up, professionalism and all of that. That one's a fun workshop. So that's going to be Thursday the 26th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Saturday the 28th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. That is a motivational workshop, one of my favorites. So if you guys just want to tune in for some quick motivation, some inspiration, some tools for how to stay motivated and inspired, that's going to be on Saturday the 28th. And then Monday, the 2nd of March, is a skincare workshop because if we want to get on camera and look glowing and have people taking pictures of our skin, we ought to have the information to make sure our skin looks good, that we feel good in our skin. So that's another fun workshop for you guys to attend. Thank you all for your feedback, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. If there is any questions further from here on out, you have my contact info, and I really look forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks. It's gonna fly by. Yeah, 1, 2.5 weeks. So I will see you guys then. Take care. Best of luck to you, and be so proud of yourself before you go to bed tonight for tuning in, for investing in yourself, for trusting in yourself. You guys got this, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you.